Hello guys, and welcome back to this series on C programming. In this video, we will be learning about structure in C. So, to introduce for you the structure, let's imagine together that we have a system of a university system, in which we have 1,000 students. So, we have to register all the information about those 1,000 students. So, for each student, we have to get the name, the surname, the ID, the student number, telephone, email, and address. So, how many variables do we need here to register all those student information? We need 7,000 variables, which is absolutely impossible to do. We cannot write a project or a program in C or in any other language with 700 variables. It's difficult even to manage like 17 or 100 variables. So it is really impossible to handle a program with 7,000 variables. This problem is solved by the structure. So what is structure? Structure is a collection of variables, can be with different type or same type, under a single name. What do you mean by that? So before you create structure variables, you need to define its data type. And to define struct, the syntax that we will use is the keyword struct. Let's see together. Here, this is the syntax of structure that we will use. We have the first thing that we have to write, struct, the keyword struct, after the structure name that we choose. Here we have all the variables under this structure. For example, here we have struct person. This person is characterized by a name with type char, the city number, integer, and the salary with type float. So this is the struct. Under this struct, we have different variables. So this struct, for us now, it's a type. It's not a variable anymore. This is a type char, int is a type, float is a type. Also, person is a type for us. So struct is a type. Now, what do we mean exactly by that, and how we are going to use that to decrease the variables number? Let's see. Create a structure. As we said, the syntax to create structure, we use struct person, and we give here the different attributes under this struct. Now, inside the int main, we are going to create the variables person1 and person2 with type person. So this person1 and person2 will have the type person. So how we will do that? We came to the int main, we write struct, and after the type name. As we said, person is like integer and char. It's a type, it's not a variable, okay? So we have struct person, the type is person. Here we have two variables, person1 and person2. Each variable we have to give a type. The type of person1 and person2 is person, the struct person. If we write the type of person1 and person2 is person, so automatically inside the person1 we have name, city number, salary. Inside the person2 we have name, city number, salary. It's automatically. So the first thing, we create the struct, we create our type. After, we'll create a variable that will take the type of this struct. There is two methods to create variable with struct type. The first method, you will come to int main. You create your struct person, you give the type, and you create your variables. For example, here, person1 and person2. Or you will come here, after writing the struct, you will write person1 and person2. It's the same. It's up to you. Okay? Now, there is here how we will access, for example, to the name of the person 1 or the salary of the person 2. The first thing we have to write person 2 dot salary, because here we have two variables. Person 1 has salary, person 2 has salary with the same name. So to differentiate, to make the difference between the salary of person 1 and person 2, for example, we have to first call the person 1 and after dot salary, call the person 2 and do dot salary. It's the same, like for example, we have two students in the class with the same name, for example, Ali or something else, or Jean-Pierre or something else, but they have the same name but different surname. So the first thing we will call them by using their surname and after the name. Okay, it's the same thing. Now, this is a general introduction of the structure. Let's see an example of this structure, how we create it and how we will use it in depth. Okay. So let's start the first example of structure. We create our file, list register. We have structure. And then, for example, let's write the structure, the basic structure of C. .h. Int main. So as we said, the first thing that we have to do is to create our structure. The structure must be created out of the main. So the keyword struct. After we will give the name of the structure. So student, this is our new type, student. Inside we will use three attributes. We have char, name, the maximum length of this name, for example 50, char, surname of 50, and we have note. Each student will be characterized by note. So we have here name, surname, note. Here we will come to the name. We will create a variable that will take the student type. So how we will do it? Struct student, for example, student 1, student 2. Here we create two variables, student 1 and student 2. The type of those two variables is student. As you know, each variable must take a type. In this case, the type of student 1 and student 2 is student. And what is student? Is a struct. Inside we have name, surname, note. So each student, each variable with type student will get those three attributes. So here, when I create student 1 must have name, surname, note. Student 2 will have name, surname, and note. Let's see our famous table of memory, and you will understand better what do we mean exactly with structure. So here we have our table. Okay, we have here type, name, values. Okay, we have here the type of number 1 is student. As we said, student is not a variable, it's a type, student. The name, student 1, the first variable is student 1, student 2. Here for the value, for each variable we have three another attributes. So we have name, surname, and we have note. Same thing for student 2, we have name, surname, and we have note. You see, now I create the type and I create a variable student 1 and student 2. If student 1 is with type student, automatically it will have on the memory name, surname, note. Student 2 also is with type student, automatically in the memory it has name, surname, and note. So here I create the output of this line is this table. We don't have yet the value of name, surname, and note of the student 1, and we don't have the value also of name, surname, note of the student 2. Another thing, why we have to call name and or surname or note by the variable name? Here we cannot write like that. name is equal, for example, to Amani or whatever. No, I have to tell what is the student. For which student? It must be student. For example, one dot name. Why? Because those two variables, student 1 and student 2, they are sharing the same variable's name. Here we have name and here we have name. Here we have surname, same name here, surname. If I will write name, it's equal to Amani, the compiler will ask which name? Is it the first name of student 1 or for student 2? So I have to tell for which student, for example, student 2. Okay, that's why we have to verify, we have to tell for which variables, and after I would set the attributes. So now here, until here, I hope you understand. Let's continue. Now we will give the information, this different information for student 1 and for student 2. We will add those informations. So let me write a comment. Student 1. We have here printf. Please give the name of the student 1. Scanf. Here we have, it's a char. We have a char of an array of char here, so that's why we are going to use %s, where we are going to write the first name here. This attribute, it's student1 dot name. So we are going to write in the address of student1 dot name. So it must be address student1 dot name. Now we will write the surname. Please give the surname of student 1. It will be written here in student 1 dot surname. So student 1 dot surname. Now we have the last thing, the note. Please give the note of student 1. So we have student 1 dot note. Now we have to enter the information of student 2. We will just copy this code. Student 2. Please give the name of student 2. Here, where we are going to write the name of student 2, we will come here to student 2 and we will call its name. So we have here student 2, the surname of student 2. We will write it in student 2 dot surname, and we have the note of student 2. We will write it in student 2 dot note. Okay. Now, after giving the different information of student 1 and student 2, we will display to see our result. Display student 1 information. So we have printf name %s surname %s average %d or note, sorry, note %d. Let me add /n. We have here student 1 dot name. You have the list automatically. Student 1, when I write student 1 dot, so I have to choose name, surname or not. I will choose surname. Student 1 dot note. Now we will display the information for the student 2. Information. Here we have student 2 dot name, student 2 dot surname, student 2 dot note. Let's execute and see if everything is okay for this code. We have here, please give the name of the first student. We have, for example, Amani. The surname, Yusuf. The note, for example, 20. Now give the name of the student to Yusuf, for example. The student to Ahmed, the surname, 50. We have here name Amani, surname Yusuf, note, and we have name Yusuf, surname. We have here something wrong in the note. Let's see. Yes, the mistake that we did here, we wrote %s for the note. Note is an integer, so it must be %d. Sorry for this mistake. Yes, let's execute again. The note 20. Yusuf, Ali, we have 50. Now we get the result. No problem. Name Amani, surname Yusuf, note 20. Name Yusuf, surname Ali, note 50. So here, as you can see, we just use to write all the information of two students. We just use two variables, student 1 and student 2. If we don't have this structure, we have to write 6 variables. Yani name, surname, note for student 1, name 2, surname 2, note 2 for student 2. So we have to use at least 6 variables, but here we just use 2 variables. This is the main objective of structure, is to reduce the variables name used in a program. Now we will go to another example. The second example now, what if we want to enter the information of student or to create n student, like for example 20 students or 30 students. For sure, we are not going to enter the student information one by one. We are going to use something that we already learned, for and tables, okay? So the first thing here, let's create a new file and let's copy. We are going to do the same exercise, previous exercise, but for different student number, okay? Let's copy this. So we have here, we create the struct name, surname, and note. Now, the first thing, before asking the number, before entering the structure here, we have to ask how many students. We have to ask the user how many students are you going to work with. So printf, please enter the student number. Scanf, we have %d and we have address of n. Okay, so here, how many student number? It's n. It will be entered by user, so we have here to add int n. Now, we will create a table. Now we need a table of structure. So student, for example, the name of my table is just s, and we have here of n. The structure must be created after asking for the number n. Otherwise, it will be free. Okay. So we have here struct s of n. For example, if you enter 2, it will be an array of 2. If you enter 10, it will be an array of 10, etc. Now, we will use for, and we will enter all the details of the student one by one. So we have here for. You know very well that for, we use it for if we have repetitive action. Here what we are going to repeat, we are going to repeat the same action, which is enter the information of the different student. So we have for e is equal to 0, e less than n, e plus plus. Here we are using a new variable e, so here we have to add the declaration of e. Here we will take this code. So here we have printf, please give the name of the student. Please give the name. Student 1, it's not student 1, we are going to write it in a table, so it will be as, the name of the table is as which student, it's E student dot name. Okay, here the surname, we are going to write where in our table as which student E, for example the first one is student 0 dot surname. Please give the note student, it's S of E dot note. This action will be repeated until finishing all the students. Okay, now we will just use another form to write the information. Let me copy this. To write the information of the different student. Let's see here. It's the same code. We are just going to make some change. We have here printf name %s, surname %s, note %d. From where? From s of e dot name, s of e dot name, here s of e dot surname, and here we have s of e dot note. So the difference between the previous example and this one, it's like that. We have a table, for example, we have a table of name. We have, for example, 5. So it will be, this is our table. Here we have student 1, student 2, student 3, student 4, and we have student 5. For example, the n here, it will be 5. Enter the student number. Here I enter 5. Okay, so I have 5 students. Here for the student 1, I have name, surname, and note. Okay, same thing for the different. So that they have the same attribute name. We have here name, 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 and name. Same thing for surname, same thing for note. Now, when I will do 4, the first 4, it will come to E of 0. Please give the name. I will enter the name. Here it will be, for example, I entered Amani. Here I entered Yusuf. I entered, for example, 20. Okay. It will come again to the 4. The second 4, it's equal to 1. It will give also the same values until finishing under student 5. Okay. Now, if we want to read, we will come with the 4. We will come here to the first student. The first student, I will write the name. How am I going to write the name? I have to tell which student. So student of E, which is student 1, dot name. Student of E dot surname, student of E dot note. After finishing this one, the first column, I will go to the second, the third, until finishing. Okay. Now let's execute our code and see if we have any problem. Let's compile. Yeah, here we have to close the main. Now please enter the student number. For example, here 3. Give the name Amani, surname Yusuf, the note 20. Give another name Ahmed, Yusuf 50. Another one, for example, Esra, Ahmed 100. Here we have name Amani, surname Yusuf, note 20. Name Ahmed, surname Yusuf, note 50. name Esra, surname Ahmed, note 100. You see, I hope you understand this example. It's very easy. If you understand the main objective of structure, you know the array, how to use array, and the for, the logic of the for. It's simple to use it with the structure. Now, we will pass to a new exercise. Exercise is to, in a class, a student is known by his name, first name, registration number, and note. You are asked to write a program that does the following. Enter from keyboard 15 student information. For sure, when we will try, in the end of the exercise, we will try by 3, not 50. Calculation of the total sum of the grade of the whole class. Here we have, for each student, we have a note. So, we will calculate the sum of the grade of the whole class, the average of the class, the number of grade above the class average, and display on the screen the information of each student. Okay? Now, the first thing that we have to do, we have to create our structure, enter the information of the different student, show the information of the different student, calculate the sum of the grade of the whole class, calculate the average, and after, calculate the number of the student above the average. Let's try this example together. The first thing, we will create our file. We said that each student is characterized by name, surname, registration, and note. So we can take it from this also, this example. We will just add, we will just add the registration number. So we have name, surname, we have the note, and we will add int registration. Now, we are going also to ask for the student number and create. Please enter the student number. We are not going to work with 15. It's not simple to test with 15. We are just going to work with 3, because if a code is true for 3 students, it can be true for, it's certainly true for 100 students. Okay, so we have our array of students. The first thing here, we will enter the information. Enter student information. Same thing, we can take it from this example. We will just add the registration. Enter the registration number. We have here something dot registration. Okay. Now let's display those information. Let's display those information by using for. It's the same example. Name, surname, person D, note, and we have registration, person D, dot registration. See, let's execute execute just this code to see if we have a mistake or not. We are just going to here we have another parenthesis that we have to delete. Here we are just going to write some please enter the number. Okay, let's execute. Please enter the student number. Let's try just with 2. We are just going to write some letter to be fast. 2, for example, D, 2, 4. Okay, A, 1, 2, D, 2, 4. Okay, so now we don't have mistake. It's okay. Now, what they ask us here, calculation. Now we enter the information, we display it. Now what do we have to do? We have to calculate the sum of the grade of the whole class. Now here we have to calculate the sum of this note. Okay, so what we have to do, we will have to create another 4 and calculate the sum of the different note for each student. Instead of that, we can just create here a new variable that we will call sum. Here int sum equal to 0, and each time that I will enter the note here in for student, it will be added to the sum. So plus equal s of e dot note. Okay, inside the 4. So for the first 4, when the student is equal to 0, it will enter the name, the surname, the note, the registration. After finishing, it will add the entered note to the sum. This one it's like to write sum is equal to sum plus s of e dot note plus. Okay, it's the same thing. We already see that in the previous video. Now we have the sum. What do we have to do? What do we have to do here now? What we have to calculate the average of the class. Okay, what is the average of the class? The average of the class is the sum of note divided by the number of students. What is our number of students? It's n. So here we need another variable, average is equal to sum divided by n. Here, after finishing, we can print, if you want, printf the sum of student note is %d, and we have sum. After calculating the sum, we can also print the average. For sure, the sum, printing the sum must be out of the 4. Okay? Sorry. The average of class is %d average. Here, what do we have to add? We have to declare this new variable here. So we have average can be equal to 0 also. Now there is something that we have to finish. The number of grade above the class average. Okay? We will calculate how many students above the average of the class. So, here we need another 4. After calculating the average, we need to use 4 to go to the table and see what is the value above the average. So 4. Why we are using 4? Because we have to check student by student. B less than n, B plus plus. We have here if, we have to use if for sure. We have here in this table different notes for 10, for example here 20, 100 and 80. We have to come to this note, student 1, and see if this note is greater than the average or not. After we will come to the student and check after the third until finish. So we have here if s of e dot note is bigger than average, this average, what do we have to do? Yeah, we have to create a variable in which we will calculate the number of the student above this average. So we have here, for example, x plus plus. Here we have also int x is equal to 0. This is the variable, or the counter, it's a counter of student number above the average. Now, if we will find s of e dot note bigger than average, we will increment x plus plus. Okay, that's it. Yeah, we can add a parenthesis. We close the 4. We close our program. Now, here we will print the x, printf, the number of students above the average is %d x. Or we can also write the name and the surname of the student above the average. It's information that we can add also. Printf here, if the student s of e is above the average, so let's write his name. Let's say %s yani the name, surname is above the average. /n, we have here s of e dot name and s of e dot surname. Let's delete those space. I think we have a missing parenthesis. Let's see. Let's try to execute this program. We have a mistake here. Average, it's sum multiplied by n. Yes, the average here, it's the big, with a big A. Here we used an average with a big A, so the declaration, it must be the same. S of E, we didn't close here. So in C compiler, it gives us indications about the mistake. So we can correct those mistakes. So simple. So here, how many students? Let's say 3. Let's give the name Amani, Yusuf. The note, it's 10. Registration number, 100. The second one, for example, Pierre, Jack, and we have the note, for example, 100, 101. The third one, we have Ahmed, the surname, Paul, the note, 90, registration number. Here, what do we have? Name, Amani, surname, Yusuf, note, registration, it's okay, we have 3. The sum of the student note is 200. Let's verify. We have 10, 100, 90, yes, it's 200. Here we missed /n to go to a new line. The average of the class is 66. We have here Pierre Jack is above the average. Yes, it's true. Ahmed Paul also is above the average. The number of students above the average is 2. It's true, so no problem of this code. Just we have to add some /n to get new lines here and here. Okay, I hope you understand the structure, and see you in the next video. Please don't forget to subscribe to get notified for the next video.